Now, the local church is a place of reconciliation. Pick up in verse number 14. For he, Jesus himself, is our peace, who was made one and has broken down the middle wall of separation. So in the Jewish temple, remember I was telling you, there was walls that divided the Jewish men from the Jewish women, and then the Jewish men and women from the Gentiles. So there was a separation. Even in worship, they were separated. The men worshiped together, the women worshiped together, and the Gentiles worshiped together. But in the local church, the Bible tells us, God has broken down the middle wall of separation, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, that is the law of commandments contained in ordinances, so as to create himself one new man from the two, thus making peace, and that he might reconcile them both to God in one body through the cross, thereby putting to death the enmity. The local church isn't going to, we shouldn't have the Jews on one side and the Gentiles on one side. We don't have the whites on one side and the blacks on one side. We don't have the rich on one side and the poor on one side. I'm reading that in James this morning. James says, if a fella comes into your congregation and he's got good clothes and a lot of gold jewelry, and you say to him, sit up front here. You're right up front here. But somebody comes in and their clothes are dirty, and you say, well, you sit back here. This is where you are, right back here. You're showing impartiality. You're showing partiality to the people. You don't know what's really going on in their hearts. You're judging them by the outside. And so the Apostle Paul tells us here that the local church should not be a divided group. Women and men worship together. Jews and Gentiles worship together. Rich and poor worship together. Educated and non-educated. Young and old. We're all together. In another place, it says that we're no longer Jew or Gentile, slave or free. We're just simply brothers and sisters in Jesus. And that's all we have. That's all we are.